Welcome to Sickboy, a podcast where we talk about what it's like to be sick, live from Movember in downtown Toronto.
Oh my God, thank you guys. A record-breaking ovation for us. That's fantastic.
You made me give an ovation. Jeez, how full of myself am I? Jesus Christ.
Pretty full.
Jeremy. Fucking relax.
Pretty full.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you all so much for showing up today or tonight. Let's not waste any more time. Without further ado, please give a nice, warm welcome to our guest tonight, Effie.
Hey, guys. Did I hear a boo? Oh, it's a woo.
Got some hecklers in the crowd.
Wow. I see you brought the haters out. Some booers over here. Jesus. All right, I see. Effie, is that your real name, Effie?
Eftihia.
I'm sorry.
Eftihia is the full
Eftihia.
name.
All right,
Effie
sweet.
is for short.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sound,
It's
like,
a lot of syllables, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I feel like Effie is something I would say to someone who I'm like kind of pissed off.
Mad?
Like,
Yep.
Effie.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's
What the
FU.
Effie is such a
Yeah.
Effie.
What the Effie was that?
What the Effie are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I get that a lot.
So Effie, I'm really excited to dive into what we're going to talk about today, mostly because, and I don't think I'm alone in this, but I'm definitely, it's definitely not the majority sort of feeling around it. I love talking about shit.
Me too.
I know you do. And we're probably going to talk about poop a little bit. I mean, a little bit.
You know what? Some people hate it.
I know.
Some people really hate it.
That's why I love it.
Yeah, sorry.
So why don't you tell
Anybody?
everyone why we would be talking about poop, in particular your poop, but we'll probably talk about all of our poop at some point.
Yeah.
I'm just really good at pooping, and that's
Yeah.
my disease.
Yeah. You're
Effie's got
actually
the world
champ.
record, ladies and gentlemen, for the world's largest poop. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
It wasn't actually the largest, it was just the heaviest. But,
Right,
you
that was
know,
actually going to be my
yeah.
question. Length or weight?
Yeah, wait.
Right.
It would be like in mass, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Do you think that
So
exists?
volume.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's, well...
There's a world record for the longest time someone drove in a roundabout. So if they have that fucking dumb world record, there better be the heaviest doo-doo.
I don't know.
Well, that's why the Guinness World Record books exist, so that people can just make shit up and say that it's a record.
Yeah, right.
So
See-
I'm sure you could do it. If it's not in there, we could make it.
I honestly think that would be a really proud record to hold because
Are you kidding me? Of course it would.
Yeah, because there's for most things like the driving the longest time in a roundabout, not everybody has access to vehicles, right? So not everybody can be a competitor in that event.
That's right.
Right. But everybody has access.
right? Yeah. So it's such an accessible competition.
Right.
Like
Oh
the
my
book
God.
says, everybody poops.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so happy.
Okay, yeah, for real.
Why are
for
we
real now.
specifically here talking about your poop?
I have a disease called ulcerative colitis.
It's ulcerative? I say ulcerative. Am I fucking that up?
Ulcerative, like an ulcer.
It is?
Ulcerative.
Yeah.
Ulcerative.
Ulcerative
Ulcerative.
colitis. UC for
Ulcerative.
short. And
Yeah.
basically, if you guys don't know what that is, a lot of people have heard of Crohn's, which is basically that. But Crohn's is within your whole digestive system, but ulcerative colitis is just within your colon.
Localized to
Yep.
your colon. So all the
Exactly.
issues are
Right.
happening
Yep.
there instead of Crohn's, which
It can happen anywhere between your mouth and your anus.
And we've talked about this before on the podcast where we were talking about Crohn's. That weird thought, if you think about it for a second, we're all just, and I know that you guys agree fully with this, we're all just big donuts, right? A donut is just this body of stuff with one hole at the top and a hole that comes out the bottom. And if you look at a human, it's the same thing. There's one hole here, and then the other hole is down here. So we're just giant donuts.
It's not as direct, but
No, I mean, but really,
it's a little bit more winding.
I mean, now we're just getting into the semantics of it all, but we're just a giant donut, really.
And everything,
but
everything's just sliding through.
But the thing is that your disease does not. So Crohn's is the entire inside of the donut,
yes,
but yours is just
just the colon.
the colon.
Yeah.
Now I know that there's a lot of people who have no clue what the difference is between an anus, a rectum, a colon, and a...
Small intestine.
Tell us the other thing, Jared.
I was waiting for something to come up. I was just throwing everything out there. Balls.
Sphincter.
So why don't you tell us the difference between anus, rectum, colon, and balls? And go.
Okay, so the way our digestive system works is it goes from your mouth to your esophagus to your stomach to your small intestine.
Sure. Follows
to your
the
large
typical
intestine.
donut.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Donut shape.
have you always been an overachiever? Because I'm pretty sure you
No.
just said anus, rectum, colon. You didn't have to go into like the esophagus and stuff
Well, I'm
like
just
that.
trying to paint a picture for everyone.
Okay,
'cause
you're doing great. Keep
literally,
going.
I didn't even know how the digestive system worked until I got diagnosed with this. Because people were saying like it's in your colon, and then the other doctor would say it's in your large intestine, and I was like, wait, that guy just said it's in the colon. And
I
was-
did the same thing because Jer had surgery not long ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm missing a bunch of my colon." And then like the next day, he'd go, "Yeah, they took out a bunch of my intestine." I was like, "Well, fucking which one was it?"
Yeah, exactly.
Figure it out, dude.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were the same thing, which I feel kind of dumb about. But I
did
didn't
too.
I didn't take that class.
I'm with
you. Know?
you.
Yeah.
All right, so then let's go through it. Here, look, take a bite of this. This is a little energy ball. No, I'll do it. Now, I swallow this, and it goes...
Oh, we're doing an
Into
example.
your
Into my esophagus.
and then your stomach,
Yep.
and then your small intestine,
Yeah.
and then through your colon, which ends up at your rectum.
Okay.
And then your rectum holds your stuff until you need to
You can say poop.
Yeah.
poop. Until you need to.
If you're having a
get
hard
rid of
time saying it now,
I just didn't know how
just
this,
wait
this
until we're
audience
like
felt about
20
it yet.
minutes
I don't
into
know.
this podcast.
I'm just trying to get a feel.
Yeah. Well, here's the feel: shit, poop, caca. Anyone else? Who else has got doo doo, duty? What else?
Doo-doo.
What?
Dookie.
Dookie. I like
That's
dookie.
Dookie's very silly.
It is. Yeah.
like it.
I heard one more back there.
A deuce.
Deuce is good.
Thank you.
Human compost.
Oh my God, Brian!
Getting into
Fecal
compost.
There's a
matter.
fucking line, Brian, and you crossed it.
As usual.
Like he
I was
does
trying to
every
think
time.
of a scientific term. That's why I slowed
Stool.
down. Stool.
Stool.
Or
Oh,
like
feces,
fecal-
right?
Feces,
Right.
yeah.
It's totally feces.
Yeah.
We left out the two medical terms that anyone ever uses.
The brown stuff.
Yeah.
How many doctors are in the audience? Clap your hands.
Nope.
Did anyone clap their
You
hands?
were real
I
hesitant.
actually
Are you guys
heard a
telling the
whoop.
truth?
What about medical professionals?
Okay, anyone in like the medical professional world who's gone to like doctor school?
Okay.
Like,
Is
you,
it-
you broadened it and then you tightened it right up again. Medical professional to doctor school.
Medical professional who's an MD. Is feces the correct term?
Stool.
Stool.
Or stool? It's kind of both. Oh wait, is number two?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
that's a cute one.
That's what they use at the children's hospital. Number
Yeah.
2.
Okay, so when you were going through that track of like mouth to
Anus.
anus, thank you. You said small intestine to colon,
Yes.
and I think that there's some people that don't realize that your large intestine, which is attached to your small intestine, is your colon.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, so some people didn't know that. That's great. This is good. So the small
Teaching over
intestine,
here.
right, is like it's like a indie track.
Yeah, it's really
it's like,
long.
we'll relate this to racing in case anybody watches racing. So it's like it's long and windy and all these weird fucking corners and tricky corners, right?
Very tricky.
And then the colon or the large intestine is more like your standard NASCAR track, where it's just
Yes.
except it's missing a
And
part.
we're all following.
So it goes up and across and then down. And then they just didn't finish the rest of the track. They just put it into the pooper.
Yeah.
Right.
So your colon sucks.
Yes. Sometimes.
Right, okay.
When I don't have medication, it sucks.
So when did it all happen? Because I know that it's not something that you're, or typically, I shouldn't say I know that it's not something you're born with, but in my experience with people, it's not something that you pop out and they're like, your colon's fucked. So when did this happen for you?
2.5 years ago, almost 3 years now, I was just having like some really severe stomach pains, and I had never had experienced any symptoms before that. And I started having bowel movements like 10 times a day. And like I don't know. I went to the doctor and they said that I might have food poisoning. And I had never gotten food poisoning before, so I thought maybe they were right. But then the next week after, I started having blood in my stool. So they
How
sent
scary
me.
was that?
It was pretty scary, but like my doctor, she said she thought she knew what it was, and luckily she had actually done her thesis in ulcerative colitis. So right when she saw it,
Of
I
course.
basically had a head start compared to everyone else that starts getting symptoms like that.
Have you ever had like a beet salad with a lot of beets?
No, actually.
And then the next day, you get up from the toilet and you go to flush and you're like, holy shit! Call the doctor! Wait, beet salad.
This happened to my sister.
Yeah, I bet.
My sister was like 3, and she just my whole family's Noof, and we like Noofies love canned vegetables for whatever fucking reason.
Canned
Like,
everything.
Yeah, just like mason jarred vegetables is like our jam. And my dad always had like jarred beets. And one day Tash like ate the whole thing of beets, drank the beets. She just loves beets. I don't get it at all. And then she shat.
beets.
She shat beets.
Did she go to emergency?
But my parents were like, "Oh my lord!" And they just scooped her off the toilet, and like my dad, just like my dad crying, running, took her to the emergency room, and they were just like, "Cool it."
I heard that's a
It
very,
was
very
beets.
common thing to bring to the emergency room. Like they see that a lot, as well as like when you get a new pair of jeans and your legs kind of turn blue.
Yeah,
I
My
hear
hand-
that
my hands
happens
turn
at
blue.
the emergency room a lot too.
No way!
Yeah.
I never
Really?
thought about that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
like
so
my legs
funny.
are blue and I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Oh, it's
from
gentle.
your jeans.
There's gentle bruising on my legs. I can't figure out why.
Yeah, go to the emergency room. Seems like
for your laptop?
seems like it's life changing.
I thought beet juice was purple though.
Well,
no,
think
well-
about reddish purple coming out of your asshole, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually, yeah. Usually it's
Got
like
it.
one of 3 colors, and all of those colors are inching towards it's called brown, right? If it's not that color, if it's any other color but brown, greenish, or yellow, I'm just basing it off. This is just my life. I don't know if anybody else out there. If it's not one of those 3
Jeremy,
colors, you're
what
in rough
are you
shape.
talking about? You're like, oh, no one
No,
else does
violet
that?
shits, you weirdo. So I'm actually curious to know what blood actually looks like in your stool, because I always thought, maybe I'm wrong here, and if you don't know the answer, all of the doctors, all of the MDs that raise their hands, maybe you can chime in. Isn't blood in your stool black?
It's actually, it just makes your stool kind of dark, and your with ulcerative colitis, basically the mucus of the inside of your colon will come off onto the stool as well.
That's another word that puts a real good taste in your mouth.
Mucus?
Mucus.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about mucus and colon mucus.
Colon mucus.
Okay.
With blood.
Okay. I have a
There's so many people that are just like, why the fuck did we buy tickets to this?
I have a serious question. Is it
Wait, so all those past questions weren't serious?
I don't know.
I was serious
Like-
about the black stool.
Well, okay, but no, I mean serious in the sense that has everybody at some point had maybe a little bit of mucus in their stool?
I don't know. What does mucus look like in your stool versus blood?
Well,
Do we
it's
need
hard for me to
photos?
answer this because for me, when I was having symptoms like that, I was going so often that I didn't even have time for my colon to work. So it was all coming out as diarrhea,
Right.
and then the blood was also just coming out as blood.
Right.
So I wasn't actually having hard stool that was dark. I was just having stool and blood.
And this is all just total crazy red flags. And you go
Yeah.
and sorry, you said you went to the doctor. They told you that it was food poisoning.
Yeah, the emergency room told me it was food poisoning.
And then so you were like,
I waited
I
another
guess I'll just
week.
go home and
Yeah.
and pass out and
Yeah,
be
exactly
feel like
what was
shit for a week. And then you went home. No pun intended on the feel like shit thing. And then you went home, and then a week later you went back.
Yeah, because once I started seeing blood, then I was like, this isn't food poisoning.
Yeah.
So then I went to my GP, and she told me that it could be what she thought. So she got me in to get a colonoscopy right away.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it takes 6 months to get a colonoscopy booked or something.
Does that have something to do with the volume of times that you're going to the bathroom? You're going, I'm going to the bathroom 10 times a day.
That's a lot of times.
I mean, if you've ever been really sick and you end up having like diarrhea over and over again, and you like how hardcore that affects you, like in terms of being dehydrated and all your nutrients leaving you, and you're not digesting any food probably, right?
Like at one point when I was sick, I was going like 25 times a day.
Oh my
It was
God.
bad.
25 dookies in one day?
Yeah, 25 browns.
It was
Holy
bad. I
moly.
couldn't. I had to be like this close to the washroom. Like
Holy fuck.
I wasn't leaving.
What
my
were you
house.
like? Could you see it? Could you physically see it like in your face? Like were you?
Oh yeah, I lost 25 pounds.
Whoa.
That's so hardcore.
Not even to
Thank
mention
you.
like the dehydration. Like that's
Dehydration,
Yeah.
malnutrition. Because once your colon stops working, it's also harder for it to like absorb nutrition and stuff. You know, like your small intestine does most of it, but your colon also does some of it too.
Here's a question: Did you face any stigma around eating disorders when that happened? Because we've had conversations with people where because of an illness they've lost a shitload of weight, and a lot of people are going, "Hey, are you okay?" and being concerned about that. Did you face that at all?
No, I know everyone that I talked to, they all knew what I was going through and how many times I was shitting. So I don't think they were worried about me eating. But like when you feel sick, it is harder to eat. So it was harder to get more of the nutrients that I needed.
Yeah, I've been in that. I mean, obviously, I don't have colitis or ulcerative colitis, but I've been in that realm, going 20, 25 times a day when I was sick in Brazil. Oh my God, sick in Brazil.
Food
when you're
poisoning?
away from home, I don't know what it was, man.
Just travel sickness.
Flies, poop, food.
he was
all
just
this
so
shit.
excited by Carnival. He was like, "This is awesome! Where's the toilet? I'm so excited!
I need to go." And it was the worst. And it was the worst. Like I lost a bunch of weight. I couldn't get up from my bed and walk. You have no energy. You're super dehydrated. I mean,
Your
I was
butt hurts.
I was delirious. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, butt hurts.
That is legit. Yeah, that is
I
the
know.
legit meaning of butthurt.
Yeah, I was legitimately butt hurt and butt hurt.
But does your butt just hurt because of wiping so much, or is it like is there a way to prevent like?
You're like
really into the
using it a
nitty gritty
lot.
right now.
I've thought about that. I've actually thought about that a lot, Brian. Because I don't know.
Do you use wet wipes?
Yes.
Those
are key.
Yeah,
Those
I
are
have
key.
used them a lot.
Yeah.
A bidet?
Only amateurs
A bidet,
don't use.
I don't use a bidet.
Only use
I don't
dry
have
toilet
one.
paper. A bidet would be ideal.
A bidet would be amazing. There's actually this company. You might want to look into them if you're
Okay.
still having the crazy shits. From time
It's
to
like
time.
an add-on bidet.
Tushy. Who said Tushy?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Who said it?
Vince,
Put your hand
my
up. Put your hand
friend.
up.
He was literally just telling me about that. Vince.
Oh, he's the guy that likes baseball.
Oh, that's not the guy. Come on, yeah.
Go
Okay,
Jays.
you like baseball and bidets? Fuck off.
That's not a lie. I literally used it today for the first time.
You bought it. You bought it.
And what do you think?
It's the best thing ever.
All right.
We
You guys are all strangers, but we know each other.
We're in this together.
It's cleaner today than it has since I was a baby.
Guys, round of applause. Round of applause for the baseball lover. Congratulations.
So the woman who started Tushy has written. This is I got a shameful plug here. I have another podcast called Turn Me On Podcast. I host with my wife. She reached out to us. Actually, Annalise said we should talk about this later, but I think they might want to sponsor the show. So did you buy one? Fucking get
I was
one
gonna
for
say,
sure.
Jer, clean butthole, like really, really, really clean buttholes. That's a great thing for your podcast.
100%.
That's a great turn me on.
It
ad.
is. Yeah.
Just sanitary, like for
Yeah,
sanitation.
this is great. This is
Well,
great.
I just want to ask a question everybody's been dying to know. How much do you spend per week on toilet paper? Right? Everybody, right?
Yeah,
know.
it's been burning.
I thought so.
Right
If
now,
you know
I'm-
the answer to this question, I'm going to be shocked and kind of like.
I use the
Yeah,
wet
why would
wipes
you know
way
that?
more often, even when I'm not in a flare. Like I just like it feels cleaner.
Nice. Yeah.
Right.
So
Do you get the stuff with the wintergreen on it where you're like, ooh?
You know what? I will say.
Because I don't. I definitely don't, and I
just
don't know what I was just
Costco.
talking about. either.
I also am a bit of a white wet wipe connoisseur.
Yeah.
And you
I
know,
don't think you're supposed to use wet wipes on your ass.
it's
I've dabbled. I'm not using them all the time. Do you know how expensive they are per wipe? It's like at least 50% more than what you would pay for.
It probably
toilet
would
paper.
be, yeah.
Anyway, if you go to so there's a pediatric care section, I guess, in the grocery store. I don't know what better way to say that, but the toddler wet wipes are actually less expensive than the adult wet wipes,
Oh,
and you
good
get the
to
same
know.
gram per wipe.
Hey
good
now.
to know.
That's good to know.
That's a life hack right there.
It is
It's
a
about
life hack.
$1.99 compared to $2.99.
Brian, you know what? I think you should write a blog post for our site.
Yeah.
Just telling people that.
And right at the bottom where you think you've been given the answer, it says, click next.
Yeah.
To get the full story.
Yeah.
10 reasons why you should be using toddler wet wipes, right?
So I want to bring it back to your chronological kind of story here.
Okay.
You go in, they tell you, it's food poisoning, which is actually kind of fucking crazy that they just assume that.
Yeah, I was kind of pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
even though I'd never gotten food poisoning before, I'm like, I don't think this is food poisoning. Like, it was bad.
And we've been told by we had a guy in the podcast not long ago, or like about a year ago, and he was an emergency doctor forever, and he said that the basic order of how they try to diagnose something in an emergency room is like, come in and let's assume that they're going to die in 10 minutes and work backwards from there.
Yeah.
And go and start to oh, it got really quiet. And then to just like tick everything off until we can kind of narrow it down to the less serious stuff.
Yeah, I feel like they went the opposite with me.
Right. They were like, what's the first thing it could be? Food poisoning. All right, go home.
Yeah, and they were just telling me to take like Benadryl or Pepto-Bismol and stuff.
Right.
And
Which
later I
probably isn't
learned
gonna
it's
help.
exactly the not thing to do.
Yeah.
the not thing.
It is exactly
you should
the
not
not
be doing
thing.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I totally get it.
They're like,
You know
take Advil, take Pepto-Bismol, and that's what I should have not done.
So what
was bad.
were the tests? You saw your doctor, or you saw your family doctor or your GP, and they got you to do
A colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy.
Yeah, so I had to do the prep before, but because I was shitting so much, like I was basically clear. Like,
What does that mean, the prep?
have you not done a colonoscopy before?
I have not.
I
I have not.
I haven't.
But, I mean, has everybody in here done a
I don't know.
colonoscopy before? How many? Oh, yeah, we got
feel
one.
like
There we
it's
go. Yeah, two.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hands up.
3? How
Good
many
for-
people?
Good for you, Lex.
Is this, oh, shoot, 4?
How many colonoscopies?
5?
Raise your hand.
6?
They're
Don't
so
be shy,
fun.
everybody. Wonderful.
That's a lot more people than I was anticipating. That's like 6 people out of like a room of 75 people. So like stats, that's like that's a percentage of people out of the room.
Yeah, I don't know why
You are
I
right.
assumed you had. Sorry.
I haven't because.
Well, I'm surprised you haven't because
Well,
you
we
had
can-
Yeah, me too.
you had surgery on your colon.
Don't worry, we can talk about my asshole and my poop later. We'll get to it. I'm sure we will. But go ahead. What is the prep?
So you have to like chug 2 liters of this thing that makes you shit. But like because
what? Fuck, you're already shitting so
I
much.
know. So like
Seems cruel.
I was chugging it and it was just coming out right away and it was like a hose. Like it was,
Donut. You're a donut.
it was like a fire hose.
Back to the.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
But they sent me home to do it, but I was like in such a bad state. Like I couldn't even get up from my bed to go to the washroom in order to get rid of it, you know? So I went to the emergency room and I finished it there. And then they scheduled me for the colonoscopy the next day.
Okay.
So it was
Yeah.
just like super fast once
It was so
once that
fast.
happened.
I was so lucky.
So a colonoscopy, from what I gather from the people that we talked to on the podcast, is a snake-like camera that is shoved into your butthole and goes pretty much like all the way through your large intestine, aka
Yeah.
We're
That was
learning,
great, guys. That was really great.
We're
We're learning.
learning.
This is great. So, what does like? That sounds horrifically painful.
Well, they put you out for it.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Yeah. But they put you out with this drug that like keeps you kind of conscious. So like you're cooperative in case they need to like push you over or whatever.
So you
like,
can move and stuff. They're like,
yeah.
lift your left
But I was
arm.
basically
or-
sleeping, but it felt like a dream that it was happening. So like I kind of remember parts of it.
You remember what it was called? Was it midazolam? Is that what they gave you?
Oh no. But they told me
Why would you
I don't
remember?
know.
You're knocked out.
But I
of
remember they
course.
told me it was something that Michael Jackson overdosed on.
Fentanyl.
I don't know. Maybe that's
was it?
wrong.
Fentanyl. Propofol.
Maybe that. I don't know.
A lot of Michael Jackson
Propofol?
fans in the house.
Something to do with Michael Jackson.
Propofol. All right, yeah.
Did you say pro football?
Pro football. That'll fucking put me to sleep.
Hey, dude,
I'm joking.
you're a
I'm
Steelers fan this year.
I'm into it now. I'm into it.
I'm not, but I'm glad you're a fan of something.
But yeah, they go in and then they take a biopsy. So like they take part of your colon in order to test it. Ooh, fly. And then that also helps tell what the diagnosis would be. And I remember them like actually extracting some of that because I remember it hurt. Like,
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
wow. Oh, no.
It like woke me up and I was like, ah. And then I
They're
fell
like, give her more
asleep again.
propofol. Give her more propofol. For pro football. Just fucking a hawk of pigskin at you. You're like, oh, no.
Back to sleep.
Like, got her. Nice.
Colitis is it's inflammation of your colon, right?
Yes.
Like if you were going to put it in like really broad
Yes.
terms.
So like the ulcers form on your colon from your autoimmune system attacking it.
Okay.
And then your immune system goes to help the attacking, which like they send way too many white blood cells, and then that causes the inflammation. So
And you're and that's where it inflames it, which basically stretches out and thins out the skin, and then you're sort of at risk of like tearing and where the blood comes from in that.
I'm not sure that's how it works.
Don't the little, like, what are they called? Like the hairs, like the cilia or something like that?
Yeah.
The
There's
phylae?
They get like
I just made that up, but-
mowed down.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they
So
can't
it's that
absorb, like,
mucus
nutrients
or
and
whatever.
stuff.
That mucus is actually those little hairs or whatever, and that like completely wipes down.
Because I had a really bad fever a couple months ago, and I had really bad diarrhea for like 2 weeks, and the doctor told me the little silly guys, the cilias, they were
Silly guys.
They were all
That's so
tired
cute.
and they were like sleeping,
Yeah.
and we need to wake them up a little bit.
Brian was at a children's hospital. Stumbled into the IWK and he was like, "Oh, my butt!"
It was
And
a
they were like,
hospital of blues.
The silly guys are
Clues.
sleeping.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm your doctor today.
No, that makes sense.
But yeah.
Because that's their job. Literally, is just to take all the liquid out of your stool and make it
Right.
hard. So that's why you're having diarrhea.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, once I was I took this like Metamucil type powder and felt better in like 3 or 4 days.
Nice.
I highly recommend it,
Oh, okay.
even though it wouldn't work for
okay.
you.
I'm okay now. I'm okay. I'm in remission, so I don't need it.
Whoa. Okay. Well, we just that was a little bit of a.
Oh, was it?
All right, bye everybody.
Don't I look
Thank you all
fine?
so much for coming out tonight. She's good.
Not sick right now.
No, I didn't realize that you could like
Be in remission.
be healed.
Oh, yeah. Well, with medication.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people say that you can heal yourself without medication, but I
Like
have not
Pentecostal
found that
church
yet.
type shit. And you're like,
Yeah.
Where they,
Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go.
just smack you in the head with a Bible. Yeah.
A lot of people do say that.
Better.
Well, a lot of people also don't have it as severe as I do. So, like, some people just have very minor forms of
Right.
ulcerative colitis, and they're able to manage it through diet and stuff. But like, mine was really bad.
Okay, so you go in, they pull the piece out of your colon and they inspect it and go, that looks like ulcerative colitis to me.
Yes. Well, they actually see the ulcerative colitis as they're going through with the tube.
Oh, they're like, this is ulcerative colitis for sure, but let's
Yes.
just in case tear a piece of her out.
Because
and
it
then look
could
at
have
it.
been Crohn's. Because if
Oh.
the biopsy tells you that it's, I don't know what it is. I'm not a scientist, but
What?
it might have been able to tell you
So sorry,
if I
everybody.
had Crohn's.
Yeah.
So if they should check anywhere else.
Right.
And what is that like? What's that news like? I mean, again, this fresh experience of being like, holy for the last however long, couple weeks, you
yeah,
are
couple
just
weeks.
having like the worst.
Yeah.
Like you're
Food
living
poisoning
in
or
hell
life killing,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then them saying, well, this is this thing that like who knows if it ever goes away or not. You're just you might be living with this thing that you've got to manage for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was scary because that's basically what they told me. But they just said like, you have ulcerative colitis and it's never like we don't have a cure for it. So I was just like, oh, okay.
But did they give you the light at the end of the tunnel? Were they like,
No.
there's no cure, but some people go into remission?
No, they didn't tell me that. They just gave me a pamphlet.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it did suck. So like I did a bunch of research by myself, and they even I think told us not to research it because it was kind of scary. And I'm like, what? I really want to know.
That seems to be the advice from hospitals and doctors is like, Google, you should avoid it.
Yeah.
But I kind of understand their thought process because, like, have you guys ever been driving over to pick a friend up and you're like just around the corner and they call you and they're like, where are you? And you're like, oh, I'm 15 minutes away. And then they're like, oh man, I thought you were going to be here by now. You're like, just kidding, I'm pulling in. And all of a sudden they're excited because they thought you were further away. That's kind of like what the doctor's doing, right?
They should
Interesting,
know.
Brian.
There's no
Interesting.
opportunity for you to ever get better. Just kidding, you might get into remission someday.
Because you know what I thought you were going to be saying was when someone calls you and you go, oh yeah, no, I'm 15 minutes away, and you should have been there then. And I go, okay. And then I hang up the phone, and I go to find my friends, and I go directions, and I'm like, you're 30 minutes away, bro. You fucking liar.
That is like 95%
of the time, yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
okay,
It wasn't
I'm
really
over it.
like that because they never really told me that I could get better.
Right.
Yeah.
It was actually like someone else that had told me I could get better, but they were like, "Here's some medication, take it," and I was like, "Okay," but then I found out later like you can manage your symptoms.
So
through
they
the
gave you
medication.
little to no information.
Yeah, they gave me a
about it?
pamphlet to read, and it was just like really overwhelming.
It sounds really lazy. It sounds like really lazy. Where was this? Don't say the hospital.
I actually switched my doctor too.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like her.
Yeah.
Did you find that switching made a difference?
Yes, well, I switched because that doctor didn't really help me too much. She was starting to give me some medications that didn't work. Like, they were very entry-level medications. Like, there's like a pyramid of medications you have to take to get to the best one. Mm-hmm. And that best one is like very expensive. So I think with the government, you have to try all these to get to the best one.
Right.
But I was like so
God,
bad.
what a game.
Like, I was
That's so
dying.
crazy.
I know, it's stupid.
Game of Thrones,
So
yeah.
then a different doctor was walking by and they're like, she's like dying. We should give her the best one. And then my parents are like, well, I thought that was the most expensive one. He's like, no, we'll figure it out. So then I switched to him. I was like, I like this guy.
It's so funny. It's like it just sounds so absurd. Like our medical system is like, yeah, and Buddy was like, well, no, I can get it for you. And then my mom was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got some right here. You know, like it's just so in another world.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was more to it than that, but I'm glad.
I'm pretty sure
glad
you
that that's the
nailed
way it came about. You know?
So there's more. So there's a bunch of drugs, and that basically go from like cheapest to most expensive.
the Loserville
and it's like,
drugs.
well, let's
Yes.
give her. Let's start with these because maybe these really cheap ones that don't cost very much will
And don't work.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe they will work. That's
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's the
That's the
ethos,
point.
right? And then
Maybe.
like, okay, well that doesn't work. Well, let's give her ones that are a little bit
Yeah.
more expensive and see if those work. And if they don't,
Yeah.
let's go one step higher.
It's called the bottom-up approach.
Right. Yeah.
Doctors?
Wait, is that actually what it's called?
Yes.
Is this a fucking thing? Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor, what does this mean, the bottom-up approach? Is this a thing?
Thank
What
you.
fucking world do we live in? Why don't we just go straight to the good shit?
Yeah. Some people can't
Yeah,
afford
dude, it's
this
called money
big
and
stuff.
budgets
Well,
and funding.
I
And
think
stuff.
that means it's now time to sing our national anthem. Everybody stand up, take off your hats. Sickboy Podcast will be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Okay, let's just go back a little bit for a
Okay.
second because you said it's not that funny.
Sorry, no, I'm sorry.
You said that like those kind of two months or whatever it was like hell for you leading up to like finding out what this is and I'm curious to know like emotionally because we've been laughing about this quite a bit and I know that probably being in that moment it wasn't a joke to you. So like what was that whole experience like emotionally?
It was really scary. I think it was more scary for my parents. I don't know why. Mom?
Why was it scary,
Why
Mom?
was it scary?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I looked like I was almost dead. There was one point where I needed like 2 bags of blood just from all the blood I had lost
Out of
in
your
my
butt?
stool. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Holy fuck.
Yeah, it was really bad. Because my hemoglobin, do you know what hemoglobin is?
Hemoglobin.
I've heard of it.
is
I don't know much about it.
It's
It's like the red blood cell count.
Yeah, right.
In your body.
That's what he was gonna say.
That's exactly
Before
what
you
I was gonna
finished it
say.
for him.
That's right.
You're supposed to have between 120 and 140 in your hemoglobin. But at that point, mine was like 64. And yeah, I looked like I was going to die. I couldn't move. And I had just come back into the hospital. I was in and out of the hospital for like a couple months. But I had
And
just
this is
come
legit, all from like the fact that you are
too
expelling
much.
out of like you are having so many bowel movements
Yeah.
that it's depleting your body.
Yeah. With blood. Yeah.
That
It
is
was a
so
blood thing.
fucking crazy. It's just all a blood thing. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But how are you like?
Fuck.
I know that I'm sure that your thought process is like, oh, I just want to focus on being better. But like,
Yeah.
like, what about your social life and friends and like leaving the house and stuff? Because you said that you couldn't, like, literally couldn't leave the vicinity of a bathroom. But how did you try to manage that stuff during that time?
Yeah. I think I was just like very open about it. I told all my friends what was going on. They all visited me in the hospital. I tried to explain as much as I could, as much as I knew, to my friends and my family. And I felt lucky because I lived at home at the time and I worked for myself. So I just put life on hold and I was able to just like focus on getting better and like doing everything I can. Because I know a lot of people, they can't have that. They can't put their life on hold and it just takes forever for them to get better.
Yeah, I don't want to put it on you that like to go like, well, this is so often wrapped in like shame and embarrassment and all this stuff. I don't want to put that on you that it's like you have to feel that way because it doesn't sound like you really did.
No,
but do you know why or what your mindset, or did you ever have any conscious thought around why you didn't, why you were so comfortable with it? Because it is very often wrapped in a lot of embarrassment and and it's hard to talk about.
I don't know. I think I must just be an open person. I've never thought about that. That's a good question.
Were you okay? How about this? Were you when it came to like the idea of you like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom and take a shit? Like, was that like a thing that you would kind of hide beforehand? Or were you like, I gotta poop, everyone, I'll be right back? Like, are you
yeah,
always
I was more like that.
Right, sure.
I'm gonna go take a shit. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, I know where you're going with that, Tay. Because I was one of those people who was like, I'm not gonna tell anyone I'm taking a shit. Like, definitely just gonna like kind of slip out and or like you know, bowel movements in front of my partner. Like, fuck no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Now I'm at a point where I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? That's just a part of my like everyday vernacular.
Because if you made it, if you did allow yourself to feel embarrassed by it, especially because since you had your surgery, and your situation is very different now than it was, pre October 2017.
Yeah.
That if you allowed it to be embarrassing and to be self-conscious about it, it would have a massive impact. It would have a massive impact on your life. Yeah. And it's like, you need to get over that. You do. Or it's important to try and manage it.
Yeah, which I am, and it's awesome that you are kind of already over that anyway. It's like, well, whatever. It's everybody poops.
I don't feel like I can be embarrassed by something that I can't control.
Yeah.
And I feel like this can happen to literally anyone. And
as
the more I talked about it, the more I realized that other people I knew actually had ulcerative colitis too that I never would have known.
Yeah, right.
Like, because they don't talk about it.
And they don't talk about it. Like,
a lot of people don't talk about it. I mean, you think about it, like, you kind of said it right there. We all have a different perspective on that, from like, the person that would stand up in the middle of this crowd and be like, "Hey, everybody, I'm going to take a shit," to like, to the person that's
whereas
like,
everyone goes, "Who are you?
And why did you just
interrupt the show by telling us you had some random?"
But I mean, somebody who's just like could not care less to a person that might get up and go to the bathroom and be like, if I'm gone more than this long, someone's going to think that I'm pooping, and that's the worst.
Isn't that the craziest thing, though? Like, I used to be the guy in high school, literally in high school. As soon as I got my driver's license, I got my driver's license at 16 years old. As soon as I got my license, I was like, fuck yeah, now I can drive home to shit. Like, that was what I was. I wasn't like, yay, now I can drive girls to like the drive-in movie theater and try to kiss them. I was like, yeah, I can poop now.
Jeremy was born in 1948.
Lower Sackville, there's not a lot going on. But like that literally was the way that my brain worked. It was like, there was we are so weird about putting ourselves in a bathroom, and like I was the guy who wouldn't shit. Like if someone sat next to me in the stall, and I fucking know you guys exist out there. There's other people who feel the same way. When someone else sits next to you in the stall,
dude, relax.
I know it. When someone else sits next to you in the stall, the last thing you want to do is do something where they hear bloop. So you literally go, I'm holding it. I'm going to hold it in. Or you you're wasting trees. You're just wasting trees, and you're putting down a helicopter pad to soften the blow.
Have you done this?
Yes, I've done that. And I know you exist out there. I'm not alone in this. We get weird about poop. But
We get real weird.
We really don't need to.
No.
And you know what? I actually still do the helicopter pad thing. But
That's because you don't want to splash water up on your butthole.
that is why. Yeah, that is why. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just guessed.
Yeah, that is
Best
why.
friends.
You know what though? I know I know to a certain
my leg.
extent why like kind of the opposite side of that, Jerry. Like no, number one, I just want to say that I would be the type of person to drive home at lunchtime to poop as well. Not because I would be worried about the person next to me, but just because it's a
more
dirty
comfortable.
toilet seat.
Yeah, it's
you
more
know,
comfortable, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, high
But
school
you get over
toilets.
that. You get over that too with someone who shits all the time. Is the idea of like, oh, this stall, this bath, I don't want to go to a public bathroom stall. You're like, no, fuck it. This thing has got a hole and it's going to go into the sewage. I'm good.
I've never been ashamed to shit in a public toilet.
Yeah.
As you should not be.
Thank you.
But you know what though? It's amazing. So I personally love the bathroom because it's one of those places where you can be there and it's an excuse to everybody to leave you alone. Like you can go in there to like have your peace and quiet.
Dude, you just got to take off your
and-
Apple Watch and then like you can be alone all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
No, but it's great. Like when you go to the bathroom and sometimes I enjoy like a solid 20 minutes in the bathroom. And
Sometimes, dude, that is you every time.
yeah.
You are the longest pooper I know.
And it's
nothing wrong with it.
because it's enjoyable. Like time slows down for a few minutes. You know, you get that aromatherapy spray in there.
It's nice.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing's
Nothing.
wrong with that. You
Nothing
enjoy
at all.
it. Now, did anybody along your journey in the hospital ever bring up the idea or the possibility of an ostomy?
They told me about it. They said, worst case, we'll have to remove your colon or
Right.
like do something about it. But like, I did get better.
And so,
They caught it quick enough.
Right.
What did they do? What was how did you get better? Was this something you
was-
took on your own?
No, it was
or-
the medication.
It was the medication.
Yeah.
What's the medication that they give you? What do you take for?
It's called Remicade. It's a biologic. So
What's a bio?
Oh, people know.
Some
it.
People are like, oh, I love that shit.
Some fans
That's
of
the good
Remicade
shit.
in the
Remember,
That's
it is the top of
I
the
actually
pyramid.
patented. Yeah. What is Remicade?
It is the good shit.
I think it's
I
a
guess.
protein from rats. Is it, doctor?
Yeah, Remicade.
I think that's what someone told me once. Yeah, I get
Nice.
it covered.
Remicade.
I get it covered by the Trillium Drug Program,
Okay.
which is what the doctor told us that he could cover.
Okay. So what does Remicade do? Do you know what it does to your body?
It's a TNF blocker. So I don't know. I'm not a doctor enough. But
That's okay.
basically, it stops your immune system from over-attacking. So it just
Okay.
kind of slows down your
So
immune
is it
system.
immunosuppressant?
It is kind
Kind of?
of works like that, but it only blocks a specific protein that goes to attack your colon.
So it's just a really smart
It's like,
immunosuppressant.
it's like
Exactly.
weed for your nervous system. It's just like, now we're good. Yeah, we don't need to erect shit up today. Just hang out. We're those Filey guys. Are they
Sealy
laying down or
guys.
standing up?
They're probably standing
Thank you,
up.
everybody. That was my impression. of,
Jeremy has cystic fibrosis, so he doesn't get to smoke weed very often.
No,
so
I
he
don't.
doesn't
Yeah,
get
I've
to
actually never
understand
smoked
that.
weed, so that was. And if you all fell for it, that's because I went to Ryerson Theater School. and
You went to
studied
Ryerson
acting.
too?
I did. Did you go to Ryerson?
Film school, yeah.
Hell yeah! What film school? We
shit.
should have collaborated.
Okay.
Let's do it tomorrow. I'm still here. Did you actually go to film school?
Yeah.
And are
that's
you?
why I do my own company stuff, you know?
Shameless plug time. What do you do?
I am a photographer and videographer and graphic designer.
And what's your company called?
Effie Edits.
Effie Edits.
Yes.
Sounds like something I'd say to someone if I didn't like them. I'd be like, oh, Effie Edits.
So what does a good poop look like?
Oh, are we there already?
I think we're
Oh,
there.
you haven't even finished talking about Remicade.
Yeah,
Okay,
more
Remicade.
Remicade. Yeah, do you snort it? What
I
happens?
love it.
How do you do it?
It's an IV
Fuck.
infusion.
Oh,
I
do you
get
do
it-
that from home?
No, I go to a clinic. I get it
Oh.
every 6 weeks.
Like a
It's an infusion
ulcerative colitis clinic.
It's a it's a GI clinic.
GI clinic. Okay.
But they like service things out of there like for people with Crohn's and colitis. And they give people
Okay.
infusions and like there's other drugs too.
And
They
this
give
is
people
the shit that
shots.
like keeps you where you are.
Yes,
that keeps
keeps
you
me
from
alive. It
being
feels good.
from having to probably have an ostomy.
Yeah. Well, if we didn't catch it in time enough, or if like we were still going up this pyramid, my colon would have been gone.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm relating this to cystic fibrosis, but like the damage, once the damage is done, there's no going back, essentially. Is that like if it gets too far, they're like,
They have to just remove
colon's
it.
fucked. We just got to take it out. It's not
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah, I think
bounce back from
so.
it.
I don't know if there's a way to heal the colon after that point.
Yeah, right.
There might be.
Or maybe they try to take a piece of it, like with Jer. I mean,
Some people,
like,
yeah, they just take
Jer,
a
you
piece out
took
of it.
what? How much of it?
They took 75% of my colon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And- but
that
I-
was probably the only part that was affected. But
Well,
my entire
yeah.
colon was infected.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would
They can't
probably
just
just
take it
get
out.
a bag straight from my small intestine.
I didn't have ulcerative colitis though.
Mm-hmm.
I just would my large intestine swallowed up my small intestine, and there was
Ooh.
75% of my large intestine was filled with my small intestine, and they were like, the only way we're getting that fucker out is just cutting the whole thing out.
Is that from a disease or has it just happened?
It's called intussusception.
No way.
Intussusception.
It is, yeah. We talked about it on the
It's
first
a-
episode of Sickboy ever. It is like inception of the intestines.
That's
It is,
amazing.
yeah. An intestine with an intestine with an intestine.
Yeah.
I actually forgot about that joke. That's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and so they cut it all out and pulled
Yeah.
it right out of my belly button. But I don't have a I don't have a bag.
Mm-hmm.
How fucking crazy is that? I have 25% colon.
Yeah.
And a straight shot right to the pooper.
Oh,
It's a straight shot.
it's a fucking shot.
Yo, hey,
he doesn't have any of the silly guys to,
there's another
to
progression.
mop up all the water.
There's the Indy race, there's the NASCAR race, and then there's the drag race for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blast
that's
right
it,
out.
dude.
Jared's got a drag race. It's kind of like more like there's an obstacle course and then it ends in a drag race.
And like those cars, you don't have a parachute at the end, but at least you have a helipad for the poop to land on.
yeah,
That's really funny. I was thinking of like it's kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon, and when you decide I'm
do
going to
the
just
end.
fucking cut this roller coaster off in the mid and send those fuckers into space. So there's that. That's a pretty insider joke. If you ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon,
course.
you know
Duh.
what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, so they removed my stuff. But so since I find this really interesting to talk to you about this because it's something that I've been dealing with for the last year. And it sucks because I'm like a poop machine now. I'm just like, that's my life now. It's like I have these spurts where I just go to the bathroom. Actually, you recently came to really know what my bathroom sort of ritual is like when we were at that talk for CCAE in Halifax. Tell the story.
Well, we were.
Tell the embarrassing story about me, Taylor, in front of everyone.
Okay, sure.
Come on.
I'm fine with that. Well, we went to we were about to give a talk, and we were like, well, let's go take a piss before we do the talk, so we're good to go. We went to the bathroom, and Jeremy was like, yeah, I'm gonna pee out of my butt, and I was like,
That's what I said.
I was like, okay. He goes into the bathroom stall, and it's like when you pee into a toilet bowl as a guy standing up, and
It's a very specific.
it's a very
sound.
soothing.
You know
It's
that
kind of a
sound.
soothing
Yeah.
like brook streamy sound, and
a babbling brook.
and he went into the bathroom, and I started to hear this sound, and I went, you're fucking with me. You're just taking a piss. And he was like, no, that's seriously what it is.
And that is.
I'm actually pooping, and it was shocking, to say the least.
It was shocking when I first did it. Now that I do it pretty much like 75% of the time. I go
You
to the
told me
bathroom.
3 times today that you were about to go pee out of your butt.
And 3 times today, I peed out of my butt.
So that's like your normal stool now.
My normal stool is like I can't believe I'm saying this in
So it's
front
like
of
a
all these
7?
people right now. Well, yes. So
yes.
What
Okay.
a fucking
Yes.
segue. So before we sat down to talk about this, before anybody was here, we were all sitting and hanging out, and we had never met Effie until today. And for those of you who don't know what our process is, we don't have one. Basically, we in that we try the less we know, the better. I don't want to know jack shit about your story. I don't want to know anything you've been through because I feel like it's a little bit more enjoyable for you as the listener to kind of learn along with us, right? That's what makes these like long form conversation podcasts so fun to listen to, is because you feel like you are there, even if you weren't here and you were listening from home. You feel like you're there. So we were sitting here, and you were like, you said something about like the stool chart or something, like the poop chart. And then I laughed because one of my favorite podcasts of all time is called Your Mom's House Podcast. And it's these two comedians that are married, Tom and Christina. And the reason why I love their podcast so much is because they love shit humor as much as I do. And there's Bridie fucking hates that podcast. Dude, I play that in the house and Bridie's like, turn that off.
Kyla can't take it either. It's
So I thought they made up this poop chart. They have this thing where they talk about like, hey, you had a poop today. Like, how was your poop? And she was like, yeah, I had like it was like a 5. It was definitely a 5. And like they have this like 1 to 7 scale. Well, I come to find out tonight, Effie's like, yeah, what's your poop on the poops chart? And I was like, oh, you listen to Your Mom's House? And she was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I was like, but there's a poop chart? So
they're talking about it's real.
This is a real thing. And they're joking about a real thing that exists. The stool chart?
Well, they gave it to me at the hospital.
Okay.
Because you're supposed to track everything basically once you're being diagnosed. So just like to help you progress, you like track everything. Like you track how many times you go, like what it's like, how much blood there is. So like they give you this chart with.
Do you relay this information to them?
There's a ton of
Yeah.
This is it.
There's a ton of info in your poo if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Now,
So, like,
here
the
we go.
healthy one is
I
3
do
to
know
4.
that Oprah once. I've never really watched much Oprah, but I know Oprah had an episode once, and it was kind of like, ooh, controversial. Oprah talks about what kind of poop's the cool poop, and she gave
Missed that episode.
At the end of the episode, she was like, everybody check under your seats, and everyone's like, huh? And she's like, you get some poop, and you get some. And she was handing poop out in bags to everyone.
What?
No, that didn't happen. I'm joking.
Okay, why don't we take an opportunity to like go through this line by line?
Let's break
and
it down.
Explain. So I'll explain line 1. Okay.
So okay,
line one.
you know about this?
Well, no, I'll do line 1.
I was
You
going
can
to
do-
say let's let the expert.
No, I'll do line 1, then you can do line 2, and then Effie can do the good ones,
Okay.
and then so on. So,
All right.
type 1 here, we have the Timbits. Small, hard, difficult to pass. When they come out of your butt, you yell, "Ack!"
Yo, these are the I don't know if you guys anybody who's had their not their tonsils, their wisdom teeth out, and then they give you like a shitload of drugs afterwards to just like totally zonk out. That's what your poop gets like when you take those drugs.
Oh, very firm, like very firm.
Yeah.
Lacks water.
That's pretty common.
like
with,
rabbit, like really hard rabbit
yeah.
pellets.
yeah, and that's definitely a red.
Pain meds do that.
Like
yeah.
you're not looking. That's bad quality.
All right, who's up next there, Bri?
Do you want me to do the next one too?
Sure.
Okay, so type 2, we've got the weird-looking Mars bar.
I was going to say Mr. Big.
Yeah, it's more of a Mr. Big. You're right.
I feel like the third one's more Mr. Big. I feel like that's a Mars bar.
Third
Because
one's
Mars
O.
bar
Henry.
is small.
Third one's O. Henry.
Yeah. Okay.
So we got the Mars bar or O. Henry one. That's the sausage shaped but lumpy. That's number 2. And when it comes out, you go uh-oh, and that's an orange.
I
So
feel like
that's like a
sausage
mediocre.
shaped and poop should not go together. That just makes me feel really weird for some reason.
It's interesting.
So we can see it. There's type 1 through 7.
You don't want me to keep going?
No, I don't.
No, we don't.
I really don't. 1 is like little turdlets, like probably like drier and like harder. And then the further you go down, the more soft and I guess to wet, watery it gets.
So the scale is hard to wet. It's hard to soft.
Yeah. Very small, fluffy, mushy pieces with ragged edges. My God. Oh, God. That is so gnarly.
That is very gnarly.
For me, honest to God, I'm not even fucking kidding. This sucks. But I'm like a type 7. I'm a type 6, 7 almost all the time. And then every once in a while, I'll get like a type
8?
Yeah. Feel like type 4, and I'm like, man, that was great. But those days are gone, long gone.
I'm like a 3. I'm a 3-4.
Yeah, you can feel bad for me. Whoever said
That was me.
Yeah.
I'm a
thanks.
3-4, and like 6 would be like, what's going on? What's going on today?
Yeah.
And 7's like, I'm sick.
Brian, what are you?
Yeah.
I'm usually always a type 4. Rock
Always?
on.
Yeah, okay. Rock
Yeah,
on.
you've been eating well lately.
Look,
Rock on, dude. Yeah.
I took a picture actually.
Jesus Christ. Get that the fuck out of here, Brian.
You are a fucking asshole.
Brian.
You're a fucking asshole. I told you he was going to fucking do that. I told you. You're a dick. Hold on.
That wasn't my poop.
You
That wasn't
fucking dick. Go back to the chart.
Back to the picture.
Back
back to the chart. God.
Hey, that's definitely type
Just so
4,
everybody
though.
knows, the amount of times before the show that I was like, Brian, don't do that. Don't do that, Brian.
You fucker. I'm so sorry,
If
everybody.
you guys want to see the type 7,
We'll
I
be,
got a picture of that too.
we'll be offering refunds at around 10 o'clock tonight. Keep the chart up there. What do you usually sit at?
Right now?
Yeah, like,
I'm usually
you
a 4 or
had-
5. I have very healthy poops.
4 or 5?
you're
Oh,
good.
really? With,
Oh, you're good.
Even with the ulcerative colitis?
Yeah. Well,
But like it's
I'm
in remission.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
you're
right.
in remission. It's basically like it's not even there.
exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Lexi, what are you at?
Like, I don't want to say, but I'm like,
No, you're going to say because you came to the show tonight.
I know, I'm definitely a 6'7", and I'm really concerned.
Oh my God, Lex! Let's
All
go
the
to the
time?
doctor together. Because I got to get it figured out too. Do you use wet wipes?
Now,
I do.
Like you got them at home on the ready?
Like, on the back of my toilet.
Yeah.
Do you buy the toddler ones?
here, Lex, why don't you
but
come
I
up and sit
should.
up here? We'd like to talk to you a bit more. No, I'm just kidding. Now, who is anybody
you,
looking at
Lexi.
this
Thank
chart and going,
Shit.
shit?
Actually, is there anyone? We can close our eyes and raise your hands.
Like, I mean,
Is there anybody that looks at the chart and goes, I am off the motherfucking chart?
yeah.
Well, that's good, I guess.
Everyone's-
If you are saying that to yourself.
Everyone's in the room that has perfect poo.
Yeah, if you are
Yeah.
saying that to yourself right now, leave. Go to St. Mike's.
Yeah,
right
you need to
now.
go to the emergency room
get
right
the fuck
now.
Out of here.
And so you don't, you have ulcerative colitis, but it's in remission. So you're like totally right smack dab in the middle of the poo chart, and you're good to go right now.
Yeah, I'm great.
So I know you're very active. Like you love getting outdoors and doing fun shit.
Mm-hmm.
In the time that you had all this stuff go down, what was like from the time that all this stuff went down to Effie now being in remission?
Mm-hmm.
What was the recovery like, and how did you have to alter your life, and how much did it mess with you?
I feel like it took like 6 months to get back, like from getting to like a good point after leaving the hospital and going home to where I am now. I think because I was in the hospital for so long and I wasn't moving, I lost a lot of muscle as well. Mm-hmm. So even just like walking took a long time to like get used to again. Mm-hmm. So like just going around the block, sometimes I wouldn't make it. And like sometimes I just have to poo too. So like I'd be like, oh shit, we got to go back now.
Like you went
couldn't
out,
even
you were like,
finish
I'm going to
my
work
walk.
on my walking strength today.
Yeah.
And then you walked like
Yeah.
3 feet out the door and you went, oh, damn
Yeah.
it, I got to go back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
poo.
How often
Yeah.
did you shit your pants?
I did it twice.
That's it?
And that was in the
That sounds
hospital
pretty
too.
good.
And
Fuck,
like
that's
the
not bad.
bathroom was like literally right there and I couldn't make
Just
it.
couldn't make it.
But I was wearing sweatpants that had like the cinch at the
wrap
bottom.
The French cuff.
And it caught it. So I didn't.
May we.
Nice.
May
Yeah.
we.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, I didn't have to clean up the
It's
bed.
good
and
for the janitor, not good for your clothes.
But
The custodian, Jeremy.
Sorry.
the room I was in had like a shower in it too, so I just
Right.
hopped in the
Right.
shower.
How often do you? You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna leave
Do
that
I
alone.
shower?
I was going to say shit the shower.
No, I don't. I don't shit in the shower. I
No,
pee in
not
the shower.
Don't shit in the shower.
Oh
Not
shit!
shit in the shower. Shit straight to shower.
Oh shit! To shower.
Yeah, shit to shower.
Yeah.
Well, no, I only shit my pants twice.
Right, but
So twice.
What he means
We'll
is
leave it alone.
what he-
No, let's
what-
leave it alone.
I'm
I feel
really
really weird
confused.
now.
No. What he means is because Jeremy does this very often, where you poo and then you kind of assess the situation and you go, this would be a real disservice to the environment if I use toilet paper for this.
Oh no, that's what the
And
wet wipes are for.
the water resource
Yeah.
would be a much more efficient way of taking care of this. So, toilet's here, shower's right there, hop right in.
It's a
Trees saved.
standing bidet. But I
Right,
just use
exactly.
the wet wipes.
Standing bidet.
Wet wipes.
You know what's really embarrassing though, Jared? I said I would never tell that you said this, but Jared told me that he would get in the shower and he would do, you know, from Legally Blonde, the bend and snap. He would do the bend and spread, and
Bend and spread.
he told me that he would do that.
The bend and spread. Can you?
I've never told you that, but I do that.
Just so that I can get rid of it. Can you like do a
that's
quick
funny.
demo? I didn't really get it.
No, No, but Jared might be able to.
Oh no, I don't.
All right.
I really feel weird now.
No takers on that? All right.
God.
All right.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
So you're in recovery. You're remission. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
What does that like? What does the future look like for you? Is this basically like you're kind of going to be on? You got to be on top of it for the rest of your life to make sure that you stay in that sort of zone.
Yeah, until they find a cure, which I'm hoping for.
Right.
What does it mean to stay on top? What are the things that if you didn't have ulcerative colitis that you would be doing but you can't now, or that you're choosing not to, not that you can't?
So there's a few things. Well, basically, I don't drink as much.
Right.
Because the Remicade also goes through your liver, and I just don't want to fuck up my liver. Can I say that?
Fuck?
Yes.
Absolutely not. Do not say the word fuck on this fucking podcast.
Sorry.
We're going to have to fucking cut that out. We'll have to go back and do some fucking post work, I guess. Fuck. All right.
I'll make a note.
Anyway, continue to fuck on.
I also feel like I went vegan. I went plant-based because of this, and I do feel like it helps me a lot. So,
Do you have to watch? Do you have to be careful about what you eat because you'll just react to things certain ways?
Yeah. That's why I went vegan.
Yeah.
There were times where I was like, maybe I don't have to be vegan, and then I would try something, and then I thought
And then
I was
you'd be
going to
like,
die.
Shh, damn.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I have to be vegan.
And now that you're vegan, do you love telling everybody else they should be vegan?
No, because I don't wish I was vegan.
Then you're not
I
a
miss
true
lot of
vegan.
And
things.
you're not vegan. Yeah, that's right.
I'm plant-based. I'm a plant-based person.
There you
I'm
go.
not a vegan.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
What
no
else?
booze,
What was the question again?
no chicken.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is
No, I
physical
think that's
activity
it.
important for you?
Yeah.
Like, is that
Yeah,
important for? I mean,
Yes.
Obviously, it's important for you, but
Yeah.
is that important for your disease?
Yes, I think it is. Also, I forgot what I was going to say. But physical activity does help your digestive system work. So that helps.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
Where was it?
We're literally just asking the things that you
Yes.
do now to stay on top of making sure that you stay within that world of remission.
That's right. We made
Yeah.
a vegan joke.
I forget. Anyways, I do want to say, though, I will be on Remicade until basically it stops working because it is known to stop working.
Oh, so your body
Yeah.
just gets like immune to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's the option after that?
You try another drug.
Do you go backwards down the pyramid?
No, there are other drugs in that same level
Okay.
that I can
Okay.
try.
Oh, okay.
But like the scary thing is that those might not work.
Right.
So
So it's more of a Mayan pyramid because it's not pointy at the top. There's like other
The
options.
plateaus.
A Mayan pyramid.
Yeah, like Aztec pyramid.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Steps.
Out of this entire experience, what would you say is the biggest thing that your ulcerative colitis has?
Yeah.
You're-
Try one
I
more
started
time.
tripping out about ulcerative because I used ulcerative colitis has. What do you? Okay, here we go. What would you say your ulcerative colitis has taken away from you?
nothing other than the fact that I have to be vegan now and I can't have like cheese. I really like cheese.
I love cheese so much.
Cheese is
Yeah.
honestly something
Cheese
that we
is
should
great.
all.
That's the biggest thing it's
For our
taken away
poo,
from
we
you.
should
That's
all
honestly
say
the
It really
biggest.
hasn't-
It's taken cheese
It
away
hasn't
from you.
affected my life that much.
Really?
Other than the fact that I do have to visit a clinic every 6 weeks. So I
Yeah.
can't travel for more than 6 weeks at a time unless I somehow figure it out where I can get an injection somewhere else. But recently I was planning a trip to Africa and I realized that I couldn't go anymore because of the Remicade, I can't get the yellow fever vaccine.
Wow.
Oh no.
So I had to cancel.
I don't know
it.
what yellow fever is, but that sounds bad.
It is. You could die.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool answer that like to hear you say that it hasn't affected you that badly, because I know that there's a lot of people, and we've spoken to people on the podcast before who have ulcerative colitis who like it has fucked up their lives pretty bad, and like your experience wasn't, it's not to say that it was any easier because you had a really rough time with it.
Yeah, I think
But-
it was like one of the worst experiences.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and in spite of that, your attitude throughout it has been so optimistic and so positive. And it almost like kind of goes to show in a way that like one of the things that you said is early, even before you had this, you were comfortable talking about things like that. And when you take away the embarrassment and you're not worried about how you're perceived and you're not withholding information from people, then you're able to get access to the care you need. You're able to not like carry that burden with you of being embarrassed. So I think that like overall your attitude is really like inspiring, and I'm sure that there will be people who listen to this episode who live with ulcerative colitis right now and actually like take that away from this. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I like to be knowledgeable of what's going on with my body. So I do take it upon myself to do research and reach out to like these institutions that provide research and stuff. So like I've worked with the CDHF, which is the Canadian Digestive Health Foundation, after I was diagnosed, because they helped me a lot. Like they provided me with the information that I needed that the doctors weren't giving me. So they basically told me that I could get better and like these are the drugs you can do. And yeah, I feel like they saved my life. It wasn't really the doctors. Yeah. So I've worked with them a lot. So
I should give them a call.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest thing, and I'll just say it the way that I usually say it so I don't fuck this up. What would you say is the biggest thing that your ulcerative colitis has given you?
I feel like I do live my life like not like I'm going to die every day, but like I am more grateful. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just more grateful. Yeah.
You are going to die every
I know.
day. You're going to die.
I try to live my life every day like I might die the next day.
Yeah, good job.
But
I think the other thing that you said too is like you have these new healthy habits or things that you're more aware of because of it, and it's not intentional, and it's something that you're kind of doing almost because it's in your best interest to take care of yourself physically.
Yes.
But you know,
that is also
at least
something
you're
else
more aware of
colitis
that
gave
too,
me.
right?
I am more aware of my body. I'm more aware of like what I'm putting into my body now. I'm just trying to be healthier. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yes.
I was being more stress-free. I was very stressed before. I was working way too hard. So now like with my company, I make my own hours and I'm just able to live more stress-free.
Does stress like
Stress is a trigger.
exacerbate the
Yes,
problem?
stress is a trigger for people with ulcerative colitis. Yeah.
Is that like it? I feel like I've sort of like missed my chance, but in the
Better get in there.
in the getting of it.
Yeah.
Is there any information around like why does it just happen? Like you said, this is
Yeah,
however
they
old
don't
you are, it
know.
happened 2 or 3 years ago. It's like how does that just
Yeah, no one
pop up?
knows. That's one of the worst parts about having ulcerative colitis is that there's no answer and like no one knows why. People say that it could be from like toxins that we breathe or the processed food that we eat, but still no one knows. Some people would say
Yeah.
it's genetics, but it's not in my family. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Could be chemtrails.
Could be chemtrails, you know? Could be the guy who assassinated JFK.
Could be, yeah.
Like, really could be.
Well, I want to say, Effie, first of all, thank you
You're welcome.
so much, because it's one thing to come into the studio and sit down with the three of us and shoot the shit about your shit, knowing that some people will listen to it, but it's just the four of us together. It's a completely different thing to sit down in front of a huge group of people that you do not know. And I think that takes a lot of courage, and I think it's very commendable. And so from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you so much for that.
Oh, thanks.
And then also, huge thank you to all of you
Yeah.
for showing up, because the thing that we feel so strongly about is that It's vitally important to be having these conversations and to be talking about the hardships that we've been through and be open to talking about illness in all aspects of the word. And you hear it all the time with like initiatives through, Bell Let's Talk or even, what Movember's up to. It's like, talk about it. Get it out in the open and talk about it. But none of that matters if there's no one on the other side to listen. And so that's where all of you come in. You just providing the time and the space to be an ear is so invaluable. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank all of you so much. Give yourselves a round of applause.
And to that point, it's like a muscle that you have to stretch, and it's a muscle that we've stretched for 3 years now, and it takes some practice, and it's not easy to have like uncomfortable conversations. I mean, if anything that we talked about tonight kind of like made you squirm. I mean, we talked about poop a lot, but
There's definitely some shit that made people squirm.
some stuff that make you squirm.
I mean,
a
let's
little
be
bit.
real.
I mean, that's kind of like what.
Don't do it, Brian. This was a sweet moment.
That's kind of what life is filled
it.
with, and there will be, when you have to have tough conversations, there will be things that kind of make you feel weird, and you gotta you have to stretch that muscle as well, and be a little bit more comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's if it's worth saying, you're probably not gonna. It's gonna make you feel something, and so we all have people in our lives, whether they're going through something that's illness or shit that's hard or loss or whatever it is. We all have stuff, and you can be an ear, and you don't have to be a psychologist to be that. So it's probably the biggest takeaway that I think that I've had on this is that you don't need a degree to listen to a friend. So
we got one really
exercise
good piece of advice a couple days ago in Ottawa, and that's it's not always easy to find the right thing to say, but I think that people just want to know that you're there for them. So it's okay to say, I don't know what to say in this moment, but I'm here for you if you need anything, and that's like the easiest way to get into one of those conversations. So we want to challenge you guys to do that and try to have some of those conversations, tough conversations with people who you love in your life. But we also want to thank Movember, and also thank Bose for the beer.
Yeah, thank you for that.
If there's any left, then please drink them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, big shout out to them too.
Let's wrap this up as we normally would with a simple. That is it for this week.
I'm Brian.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Jeremy,
I'm Effie.
and this is Sickboy.
Yeah.